Hi, I'm Alan Gordon and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about the price objection. Now, it's a funny story because somebody asked me about it and I said, oh, I have a video about it, and I went through all the titles of my video and I was going to send them a link, and I have 40, 50 plus videos, and I did not have a video on the price objection. I can't believe that I didn't create a video on price objection because it is one of the most common scenarios that you as a salesperson are ever going to encounter. You'll encounter it all the time. I'll explain why it's so common, and then I'll explain several different strategies on how to handle the price objection. Before we jump in, I want you to be aware of two other videos. Number one, if you haven't seen it yet, you must watch the video on the right way to handle objections. I'll put a link up here, and then another video that you have to watch is once you understand how to handle objections, it's called Practice Makes Perfect. You're going to practice handling those objections until you'll be able to just nail it every time it comes up in a call. So let's talk a little bit about the price objection. First of all, I want you to understand that the price objection is a buying signal. When we're talking about price, when the customer brings up price as an issue, that means the customer has already made a buying decision. They're going to be moving forward with this project with you or maybe with somebody else. So they may go price shopping, but they are going to be moving forward. Something has flipped in their brains and they are now ready to move forward. Now the issue is price. Okay, so it's a buying signal, and recognize that for what it is. They're ready to go forward, so you've got to lock them in, and you've got to have a great answer ready on when they ask for price. The second thing to understand is it's a natural occurrence. It happens all the time. You know, I've seen sales chat rooms and message boards where, well, if the customer is trying to negotiate price with you, you didn't do a good enough job in explaining the value of your product. Because if you had done a good job in the beginning, price would not be an issue at the end. And that's baloney, okay? It's a human instinct to try to get a better price. But here's more importantly than a human instinct, it's their job. If I'm an HR director, an IT director, and I've got a $200,000 budget, and your project is $50,000, I have to try to get it less expensively. If I can get it for $40,000, that leaves me more of my budget to do many of the other things that I want to do. So I have to, as a steward of my company's money, I'm responsible for my budget. I want to ask for a better price because I want to see if I can get more value for my dollar. Okay? If I'm a purchasing agent, well, heck, that's just been my job description. You're going to try to negotiate the very best price with every vendor. So don't be surprised about it. Don't be, oh my God, they asked me to lower the price. It happens all the time. But the good news is it's a buying signal. So once you resolve the price objection, you can move on to a close. Okay? A couple of things that you want to keep in mind when handling the price objection. Number one is you want to focus on the value, on the whole package. So while it's true, Mr. Customer, that I understand what you're saying, what you're saying is you're finding a similar product with one of our competitors at a lower price. I understand exactly what you're saying. Number one, we want to make sure that the product or the service itself is apples to apples. If it's not, then the price comparison just is invalid. But number two, I want you to consider the whole package. I want you to look at the warranty. I want you to look at the service after the sale. I want you to take a look at their rating in the industry. We have a 4.8 out of 5. And not to say anything, but I'll link you to the ratings. You can look at our 4.8 rating, and you can look at our competitors' rating. So I want you to look at the total package. It's not just the price of the purchase. It's the value over the long term. It's support, it's warranty, it's customer satisfaction. And here's the thing too, Mr. Customer, we're not perfect. We make mistakes from time to time, but the real value of working with us is, of course, if everything goes perfectly, no problem. You use the product for many years, there's no problem. But if something goes wrong, a single phone call or an email to me or to anyone in our company, and we stand behind that product or service. And that kind of peace of mind, that kind of value, that kind of company commitment to your success is not something that really money can buy. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so we've talked about total value. The second thing you can do, if you know that they're being price shopped, okay, so you say early on in the process, as you're going through the specifications or whatever it is, as you're doing needs development, you simply ask, where are you at in the buying process? And if they tell you, we're looking at several alternative solutions, you're one of them, and we're looking at others, or they may tell you right now, we're just looking at your solution. Of course, I'd rather hear that because I now have an opportunity to blow them away with my service, my solution, the value, and just close it right there rather than have them shop. If they would say something like, right now, you're the first person we're talking to, I would say something to lock it in. I would say something like, well, you've really come to the right place. I'm really glad that you and I are talking because I want you to feel very, very comfortable with our company and our product and our solution and our service. And that's very important to me that you feel comfortable. And then you do what only great salespeople do. You ask great needs development questions. You customize the solution for them. All along the process, you're making sure that this is what you wanted, right? This is exactly what you had asked for, right? So we've customized this for your exact situation, right? Okay, let's go ahead and, what other questions do you have? None? Okay, let's go ahead and get this done. So you actually have an opportunity to close. If they tell you it's the beginning of the process, they're looking at you and they're looking at several others, ideally you would like to arrange it so that you are the last. The reason you want to be the last is so you can compare what everyone else has done. If you're, say, a carpenter and you're bidding on a home improvement project, I would always want to be the last because I might be able to get insight into the other companies, the other bids and what their pricing was, what materials they used, what their schedule was. So the more I know about my competition, the better I can position my solution, not only with price, but also with quality, time frame, etc. All different levels of service that I can provide. So if I am in a price competitive situation, I always want to be the last. Okay, that's another little tidbit about pricing. But if they say, hey, look, you're, $10 a unit, I have someone else who's giving me the exact same thing for $8 a unit, you're a little bit stuck. You want to talk about the total value like we talked about. You want to talk about the intangibles, okay? But the reality is you're at 10, they're at 8. You don't want to get stuck in that situation. So what you do in that situation is you ask more questions. We gather more. I'm thinking I want to show you a couple of other options. And I want to see what I can do to get our price down to something that makes more sense to you. Okay? And we want to look at other options, and we want to do that because I want it to be apples to oranges. If I know that I'm usually the highest and not the lowest, if I'm the lowest, I'm always hammering away on price. If I know for a fact that my competitors are lower priced than I am, and I'm going to always come out higher, I always want to do apples and oranges. Well, you can't really compare those two side by side because they're doing this. We extend the warranty to 5 years. And why that's important to you is you're going to get those extra years of coverage. The truth is, most products don't fail in the first 3 years. It's in the second 2, or whatever the reason is. So you want to do apples to oranges. You want to change the warranty, change the configuration, change the specifications, watch my hands, wave your hands a lot, and now my solution is nothing like their solution. And when you consider it, well, of course theirs is less expensive because they didn't include this, and this. That's something that only our company does. So those are some strategies to deal with price. Now I want to talk about handling the objection up front and then practicing the objection. It's a funny story. Okay? Now I believe in understanding what the most common objections are, having an answer for that, a response that's a good response to that objection, and then practice so that as soon as I hear the objection, here comes my answer. So I used to, I was in a company where price was always the issue. We were never the lowest price, so every day, several times a day, people would say, your price is too high. I can get it cheaper on the internet. I can go to one of your competitors and get it cheaper. And I practiced my answer. My answer was as follows. Mr. Customer, I'm a price shopper myself. So when my son comes to me and he needs some kind of a special baseball bat that he wants, well, I look at that, that's a $300 bat. Well, I'm just like you. I go on the internet, I look at 10 different companies selling the same bat, And who do I buy it from? I buy it from the company that's willing to sell it to me at the lowest price. But you know what, Mr. Customer? We're not talking about baseball bats here. In this case, it was complex computer systems. We're talking about complex computer systems. And it's more than just the price of the hardware and the software. It's the support. It's the company that stands behind the service, because these things require, when there's a problem, you want to get on the phone and know that you're talking to an expert. And our company, when we talk about our warranty and our support, that's more than just a line item on our quote. Our company believes very strongly in standing behind that warranty and standing behind the service that we provide. And we maintain, our folks get health insurance. This is a really solid company. And our engineers have been here for many, many years. And it's because of our commitment to service that we have grown and become as successful as we are. So when you look at the first initial price, there's really more to it than that, isn't there? And it was funny because I would always start, Mr. Customer, I'm a price shopper myself. And I rehearsed that over and over and over again. And so when I wasn't on the phone, I'd be saying, Mr. Customer, I'm a price shopper myself. And everyone would see what I was doing and they'd laugh, right? And sure enough, here comes the phone call. And I'm on the phone and I have my headset on and they hear me say, Mr. Customer, I'm a price shopper myself. So I not only am aware that the price objection is a buying signal. I'm not only expecting it because it's their job to try to get it for a lower price. It's their job. It's their budget. It's their company's money. I would expect them to try to get a lower price, but I'm 100% prepared with my response and the different strategies that we talked about. Changing it so it's not apples to apples anymore, making it a little bit more involved and more complex. Our solution is quite a bit different than this, so you can't really look at it. It's not an apples to apples comparison. Talking to them about the value of the whole package, not just the initial price. Anyway, that's the strategy on the price objection. I hope that was helpful. Hey, every day I want you to pick one sales skill and work on that sales skill, pull it into your routine so that you become more and more comfortable with it. And every day, day by day, week by week, month by month, strive to become the master salesperson you want to be. Thanks.